morning, everyone. My name is Gretchen de Jesus, board member of Nuestras Raices, and welcome to our declaration to Hispanic Heritage Month. As we begin, we ask that you please silence your cell phones. And keeping in mind with the public health risks, we ask everyone to maintain 6 feet distance and wear a face covering. Please do not block the walking path. Under normal circumstances, we know that many of you would want to take personalized pictures with some of our special guests. But considering the public health risks, we ask that you refrain from doing so and respect the public health measures set in place. Without further ado, please welcome Maria Perez, President of Nuestras Raices Delaware.
Good morning, everyone. I've already spoken to everybody. Welcome. Thank you, Gretchen. It is with great pleasure and honor that I get to welcome everyone here today for the declaration of the Hispanic Heritage Month, recognizing the diverse, rich cultures, contributions, leaders, and the many Hispanic men and women who help to enrich the growth of our state. Traditionally, this gathering is hosted by Maria Matos and the staff at LACC during their annual open house. We actually have Wanda Burgos from the center today. However, as we all know, we are living different times and we have to come together to support our essential workers. The LACC has become just that as well, as a dedicated hub to Latinos. With that said, Nuestras Raices is honored to support their tradition and host the declaration of Hispanic Heritage Month this year. As a strictly volunteer organization, Nuestras Raices has seen neighbors become heroes, parents become teachers, kids become ambassadors, government officials become innovators, and leaders return to grassroots organizations to help. Our team strives not only to support our state through volunteering and mentorship initiatives, but in a time where everyone is moving at a fast pace, we have taken a role to simply pay attention. Pay attention to the champions in the Hispanic community who are pursuing in the overtime to help, aid, and guide families in need during these difficult times. Hispanic Heritage Month is not only a time to recognize individuals who are considered to be champions of our community, but also those who promote growth in our state as business owners, leaders, activists, government officials, public safety officers, volunteers, nonprofit, broadcasters, artists, healthcare workers, and educators who all exist here in Delaware today. This year, we may not be having our colorful events, festivals, parades, celebrations, which will normally draw in thousands of Delawareans, but we will celebrate a few of the champions that have contributed to our Hispanic during these difficult times. Today and during the month, we will honor community heroes as part of the Hispanic Heritage Month. We challenge everyone to do the same, to find one Hispanic champion in the community and recognize them, reward them for their hard work, and ask them to remember they are valuable to our great state. On behalf of Nuestras Raices family, we thank you all for being here with us today.
Thank you, Maria. With that said, we want to welcome India Colon, Vice President, and Will Resto, Executive Board Member of Nuestras Raices, to recognize our government officials and open the declaration to Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thank you so much, Gretchen and Maria Perez. Again, thank you everyone for being here today. We know that it's a difficult time, and the mere fact that we were able to get so much support and our state elected officials to be here today makes it all the better for us to continue in what is important to us, to still recognize, to keep some hope alive for the spirit of Hispanic Heritage Month and all the community champions that are here. So we wanted to do something a little different this year, in that since we aren't doing these celebrations like Maria says, we're doing these community awards really just to recognize individuals that are doing such hard work from the top level all the way down to the grassroots. So with that said, we wanted to start, of course, with our elected officials. There isn't anyone on this list that's going to speak today. And I know normally we all come together to do our declarations and our proclamations to Hispanic Heritage Month. But if you're here today, it's because of you that we're doing this. Each and every one of you, we wanted to thank you. We know you guys are all working hard in our state. We know that it takes a lot of work to stay safe in the environments that we're living today. So instead of doing these big, long declarations of what Hispanic Heritage Month are, we really wanted to focus in highlighting some individuals that are working towards a Hispanic initiative, towards a Hispanic policy, towards a Hispanic grassroots organization. So with that said, I'll let Will Resto come up here and do his portion. Do you want to?
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing? I'm trying to rush this thing. No, just kidding. Welcome, everybody. I heard that. Man. As many know, Senator Tom Carper has been a longtime advocate and policymaker to the Hispanics in Delaware. The layers of his career and devotion to transparency and his persistence to see the past the surface of critical issues throughout his career has always set him apart. He has always welcomed the Hispanic staff, encouraged inclusivity in policies, and advocates for Latino veterans. We would like to thank you for your many years of public service, sir, for always being inclusive of the Hispanic community, and for all you do to continue that today. We recognize you as a champion of service to the Hispanics in the state of Delaware. Thank you. And Isada, you want to come up? This is our junior miss, Isada Ortega.
Junior miss. Nice round of applause. For me? Yep. Yes. What's your name? Tell everybody what your name is.
My name is Isada Ortega.
Isada Ortega. I once knew a man named Daniel Ortega, who was president of Nicaragua. And I went down and I met with him any number of times when we were trying to settle our differences. Let me guess how old you are. Nobody's told me this? 23. Okay, am I close? 12. Oh, I said, well, I'm off by 11. And are you in college? Where do you go to school?
I go to Cap Calloway School of the Arts.
Cap Calloway School of the Arts, and you are in 7th grade?
Yes.
Pretty good, huh? Okay. Are you married? Are you proud of your heritage?
Yes.
And how are you Latino? How did you happen? How are you Latino?
I am Latino because of my parents, where they came from.
Where do they come from?
They came from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Anybody here from Puerto Rico? Bienvenido. Bienvenido. Let me hear you say, bienvenido. A todos. Es Salvador. Yes. And someday, in about 57 days, we'll all be saying that. We'll all be celebrating. And it'll be a new day. I just want to say, a number of years ago, I was with Felisa Blunt Rochester. She was Secretary of Labor, I was governor. And the day was over, it was like Friday afternoon, and most people had left. Felisa said goodbye, and she headed out the road. And I was in my office by myself. It was about 5 o'clock. And a member of my staff came in and had a letter, and I said, we got this letter, and we're not sure what to do with it. And she handed it to me. And I opened it up, and it was a Xerox letter. Xerox. And it said, Dear Governor. And said, I'm writing to you, I'm writing to all the 50 governors of all the 50 states. I'm writing to ask all of you the same question. And the question is, what is the secret to happiness? That was what the letter said. And she said, and then it was signed Melissa, but it was a Xerox signature. And she sent it out to all the, so my staff gave it to me and said, what do we do with this? I said, why don't you give that to me? And I'll write a handwritten note. And I reached on my desk and I pulled out a pen and a little card that I would write notes on. And I wrote probably the only handwritten note that Melissa got to her Xerox letter from governors all over the country. Probably the only handwritten note, probably the shortest note. It was like one paragraph in my response. There was one sentence, and in one paragraph there were two words. Two words in the response. And I said, dear Melissa, serve others. That's what I said, serve others. And people look a lot of different places for joy and happiness, but one of the only places I've ever found to actually get it and keep it for good is when you help and serve other people. We're being honored up here today by the folks in the Hispanic community, the Latino community, and we very much appreciate that. But you give us a great gift, the gift to serve you. And for that, we should be saying thank you, and I do. God bless you all. Thank you so much. It's a classic. And thank you, man.
Thank you, Senator Carper. When we speak of Senator Coons, we have to acknowledge his what seems to be never-ending ability to capture the true essence of working your way up the ladder with integrity. In a time where Latinos depend on trusting our leaders and, in Senator Coons' own words, doing the right thing. We are grateful to see someone who has shown our community that he has us in his best interest. That immigration policy is important, that we as Latinos must remember the balance of education amongst the economic growth opportunities must be at the forefront of our progress. We thank you for always doing so with integrity and fighting for us through your years of service. Let us welcome and thank Senator Chris Coons.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? No? There we go. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you. Do I get to take that? Oh my God. Thank you very, very much. Can we give her a round of applause for being so wonderful and such a great embodiment of everything we are celebrating today? To Gretchen, to Maria, to Will, to India, thank you to everyone from Nuestras Raices. Celebramos el mes de la herencia hispana. Bienvenidos a todos. I am thrilled to have a chance to briefly say thank you for the recognition, but thank you more, as my friend and senior senator has recognized, for the chance to serve you, to work for you. We are gathered in this unusual configuration because of a pandemic. And because of a pandemic and the flawed federal response to it, we also have a deep recession. And because of the pandemic and the recession, we can see more clearly than ever the ways in which our nation is not equal, is not fully inclusive, the ways in which equity, access to healthcare, to education, to capital, to opportunity, and to a bright future needs to be addressed. So let me briefly, in saying thank you, recommit to the hard work of fighting for a more just and humane immigration policy, for broader and stronger and more open access, for opportunity, whether as entrepreneurs or as investors or as homeowners, and to be dedicated, along with the great leaders of our city, county, and state, and my dear friend in the House, Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, that we will all be working to see and then address the ways in which health equities are a big part of the current challenge. I'm grateful for the very tough decisions that our governor has made to help us get through this pandemic, and for the ways in which our county executive, our mayor, and our congressional delegation have worked well together. We will get through this together. We will have a brighter future, but it requires all of us seeing, respecting, and including all Delawareans and all Americans. The numbers tell a brutal story. The highest number of people in Delaware of any background who've been infected are Hispanic. The rate at which Americans have been hospitalized or have died is 4 or 5 times greater for Hispanic Americans. So while we do gather to recognize this remarkable moment, this month of celebration of heritage, we should also redouble our dedication to make this a just and an inclusive nation, to celebrate a remarkable history, great contributions, and a bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Coons. This person doesn't need much of an introduction, as she manages to captivate everyone with her infectious energy. Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester has stopped to listen to Latinos, she has taken back her concerns, used them to fight some of the greatest fights that affect our Latino immigration community. She walks in with a goal to fight for what is ethical and does so always with integrity. We are grateful for her never turning a blind eye to our concerns and taking it all the way to the top for the Hispanic community. Please welcome Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester.
Thank you, Will.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon. Is it still morning? Good morning. It just feels like afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Buenos dias. First of all, I want to acknowledge, as everyone else has, it's unusual that we are not in a parade or at a festival or just enjoying each other like we typically would as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. But I also think even this gathering is a testament to the strength and the resilience and the power of the Hispanic community, that we still persist, we still go on. And so I am honored to be here today. And I was especially honored that the focus, in addition to acknowledging people here, is really about unsung heroes. It's about the people behind the scenes. As our senator said, it's not about us. It's about everyday people. And I want to take this moment to thank you for the honor, but accept it on behalf of Carmen Gomez, who worked at the Department of Labor with me for many years and was behind the scenes at the Commission for Women and made it possible for us to do our work. She passed away about a month ago. And I don't want us to forget those unsung heroes that make it possible for us to do the things that we do. As the senator said, not only are Black and brown people being more affected by COVID-19, but the Hispanic community, in all of its diversity, is the fastest growing in Delaware and in this country. And so it's important to have and use your power. I am wearing a mask that says vote, vote, vote. That's what Maria Matos would say. Vote, vote, use your power. And so I will close by just saying, this scarf, I picked it up this morning because it reminded me of my great-grandmother, who was a quilter. And she made this beautiful quilt, but it was representative of different colors and different backgrounds. And I think just like the Black community, the Hispanic community knows that you are not just one community, you are multiple communities, from Guatemala, from Puerto Rico, from Mexico, from Spain. I could go on and on. But that diversity comes together like a quilt. And that quilt can protect, it can cover, and it is beautiful. And so I just thank you for the honor to serve and work with you. Yesterday I had a round table with dreamers in our state. And as Chris said, we have to keep fighting for a just immigration system. Keep fighting for equity in education and healthcare. Keep fighting for peace and justice and liberty and the things that this country has promised. Today, we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, and I am so honored to be here, and I'm so proud to represent Carmen Gomez. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Congresswoman. First, we want to say thank you to Governor Carney. We hope that in this short period here with us today, you can disconnect your mind and simply breathe. We see you, Governor Carney, in a time where people need to find someone to blame or point out the things that are not working. We see your tireless efforts for the safety of our community, and we thank you for that. We are grateful for including us in the numbers of Latinos and making sure resources are there at these difficult times and they are available. The responsibility you bear of an entire state is no easy task. We want to say thank you for showing up, for always including the Latino community, and because you stand behind us when we need your support. We stand behind you as our governor and friend, and saying thank you, Governor John Carney.
Well, in light of the 27 state of emergency declarations from our governor, I'm going to pass over using the microphone in respect to all of you and to limit the respiratory particles from my own mouth coming out today. I can't tell you how excited and happy I am to be down here on this riverfront. I got here about 30 minutes before and took a walk down on the side, and a lot of things came to mind. One is the incredible transformation that has happened here along the riverfront and across our great city. Two is the immigrant populations, the sons and daughters of immigrants who worked for so many years along these banks to build ships that protected all of us in World War II. And then the transformation that happened after that. And I'm reminded as we gather here where we would normally be tomorrow, out on 4th Street, strutting down, celebrating every one of the Hispanic countries that make up the kaleidoscope of Hispanic Delaware, and having so much fun doing so. But I tell you this, to be here with all of you and our elected officials to proclaim this Hispanic Heritage Month, and it's not official until the governor actually proclaims it with a proclamation signed by the lieutenant governor. And just to think about how important, how much diversity we have as a country. This pandemic started with our emergency declaration on March the 12th. On March the 16th, this Irish-American governor canceled St. Patrick's Day. Now that was something. And since then, we haven't had our Italian-American celebrations, our Greek-American celebrations, and today we come to celebrate Hispanic Delaware. As I think of all the things that has happened over the last 6 months, the most challenging was to protect the Latino and Haitian Creole populations in the lower part of our state. We tested thousands, and there are hundreds of unsung heroes who were part of that effort. And in the spirit of the theme for this event, I would like to recognize some of those community partners and unsung heroes. Chief among them was Dr. Rima Perry, who runs La Rosa Clinic in Sussex County, who did an incredible effort working with our Lieutenant Governor and other community partners to reach out just as the virus was spreading in the Hispanic community in Sussex County among the poultry workers to test and to test and to test. I'd also like to recognize La Red Health Clinic, federally qualified health center that our delegation I know supports strongly. Erica Gutierrez with Network Delaware, who did incredible work working again with community partners. And finally, Jennifer Fuqua at La Esperanza. I'd also like to recognize we got our National Guards men and women together to help with the testing sites that occurred across those small towns. And in particular, the Latino Guards men and women who were on the front lines helping with that testing, including Tech Sergeant Hamill, Sergeant First Class Aparicio, Private First Class Westeros, and Private First Class Rivera, and many more. Please help me acknowledge these incoming heroes. And so finally, you have to have the proclamation. And I'm going to save you all the whereas clauses except the last one, which says, whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is the period set aside each year to celebrate the life, work, culture, and traditions of Hispanic Delawareans. Now, therefore, we, John Carney, Governor, and Bethany Hall Long, Lieutenant Governor, do hereby declare September the 15th, which is next Tuesday, I believe. Is that Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday.
It's primary day.
There's something else happening that day? Through October 5th, 2020, as Hispanic Heritage Month in the state of Delaware, and urge all Delawareans to join the Delaware Hispanic Commission in recognizing the importance of Hispanic community in our state and the many, many contributions to our state and country. Thank you very much. God bless you. Oh my God. Thank you much.
Thank you, Governor. One of the greatest honors is being able to stand in front of our Lieutenant Governor when we speak about topics that are near and dear to Hispanic legislation. It's not easy being in a room trying to convince everyone that the cause matters to Latinos. She not only manages to give those of us who walk through the doors of Legislative Hall a welcoming smile, but offers empathy and understanding with the simple feedback which she is never obligated to do, but manages to take time to give. For this, we thank you for your care and your nurturing of the community. Thank you, and please help me welcome Lieutenant Governor Bethany Hall Long.
I too am going to role model a little public health here using my wipe on the mic. Wow, a lot has been said. Thank you to Will and Marie and India and our congressional delegation, and to my friend Governor Carney, who I agree needs a day where he does not have to think about things, right? And enjoy the sun and this beautiful riverfront, along with our members from the county and the city. I am not going to say a lot, but I am going to say to the community, you are the foundation to why we are having in our state a bolstering turnaround. We have a recession, but you're a major part of our economy. You are a huge part of our labor workforce, as mentioned by a former Secretary of Labor. And you are the reason that many of us in the health profession get up and do what we do every day. And I have to say that you enrich with the heritage. And as we look over here, oh my goodness, hello. You enrich our culture and our arts and our education with your wonderful experiences and backgrounds, and Marie and to others, and to Maria at the LACC, where we normally host this, with many organizations and individuals who really make a difference for Delaware. We're here gathered, and I have to say, I've had the honor and the privilege over the past year to work with a lot of you in our congressional delegation on something also that's very important by the end of the month, and that is called our census, the complete count. You have partnered with us, you have worked with us, and we need you more than ever. We know that your voices matter, and we need you to take 6 minutes, 10 questions. You can do it over the phone to support, bring the monies, the resources back to our community for healthcare, for lunch, for roads, for the things that really matter. And if you take that time by the end of the month, nobody's going to get your private information. Nobody's going to ask citizenship questions. And I have to say, they have been partners up and down this state. Thank you so much for that. So when you go to vote next week, if you haven't done the census, please continue to do so. The other part that has been a real honor and privilege has been working with the community. You've stepped up. As we've heard from everyone here today about the COVID pandemic in the community, we know the infectivity rates, but you've opened your doors. The LACC jumped at the opportunity to do testing, working with Dr. Perry and the others statewide. You've hit the streets telling people we've got to be tested and saving lives, which has been so very important. The other part that's really touched me over the past couple of years, or actually 4 years, what am I saying, 2 years? 4 years, is you've joined me on the streets as we talk to people as they've been suffering from depression or anxiety, and it's only gotten worse during this COVID pandemic. And in particular, during our pandemic, the epidemic that rages, each and every one of us are touched by persons who unfortunately are suffering through the opioid epidemic. And your community continues through the Hispanic Heritage to help us, to get the word out, to work with families, to say it's okay not to be okay. So as we celebrate, we also have those serious matters of the epidemic. We have the serious issue of getting our census completed, but we also have hope. And I have hope for a new America as addressed by our members of our congressional delegation, that we are for the first time seeing the necessary need for equity in health, equity in education. And for those who haven't been able to join us, we have a bi-weekly Latino leaders call that is run through my office that our governor often joins. Other elected officials are always invited from the city and the county. Join us. Edwin Hernandez in my office would love to have you participate. We find out what you need, where we need to go, where we might need more testing. So thank you for that. And I am excited today. I really wish, man, I wish I could march with you in the parade. I wish we were in the parade. I wish we were at the LACC, but we'll just come back stronger next year. So thank you all. Do your census and vote. Oh, my class. I'm recognizing you guys. I'm not thinking about myself. Jeez, okay. I forgot about that. Sorry. Stand over here 6 feet, right? I gotta remember this thing. That's not 6 feet. I know, it wasn't 6 feet. We could pretend. Oh, my class. I feel like I deserve it. Oh, no.
Thank you, Bethany. You wouldn't think he's an elected government official when you glance at our county executive as he's biking around the county, literally. Not because he isn't presentable, but because he's always in the middle of some sort of project. Though many of us have the pleasure of seeing him in a suit and tie during meetings, well, I don't know about the tie part. We as communities are most grateful to see you not only embrace the Spanish language, but always find you diving into the grassroots level, working on projects that you support. You are not afraid of hard labor and getting dirty. We Latinos know a little something about hard labor. Your executive orders and policies changes have impacted Latinos in our county in ways you could never imagine. From your bike riding work days to working with higher level officials to get the county what it needs in our communities. We say thank you for being a champion who stays with us in the trenches. Please welcome County Executive Matt Myers.
Fresh microphone. Thank you very much. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenos días. ¿Cómo están? Bien. I'm so happy to be here this morning. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. You know, when I was walking up today, I was thinking a little bit about 2018. I don't know how many of you remember Nuestras Raices, the parade in 2018, but I remember I woke up on a Sunday morning and I looked outside and it was dark. It was maybe, I don't know, 7 in the morning and it was still dark. And it was pouring rain. And I thought, oh boy, I guess there's no parade today. And about 10 minutes later, I think I got a text from India that said, la lluvia es un bendiga en Puerto Rico. Vamos. Right? Let's go. Rain is a blessing in Puerto Rico. Let's go. We're going to have a beautiful day. And I said, oh boy, this is going to be something. And I showed up with my 2 umbrellas and a raincoat and everything. And then I was real worried about we got to make this walk. And it just seemed to be raining harder. And then I saw Tom Carper, Senator Carper. It was his 45th year, I think, at this parade. And he was out there with a baseball cap on, T-shirt, ready to walk in the parade. And I think the rain gave him energy. And the community gave him energy. And as we walked down that parade, and that parade route is phenomenal down 4th Street, constantly being reminded not only of the strength, but the extraordinary diversity right here in Wilmington of our Latino community. We're reminded of that nothing will stop us. And I think now, back in March, when the governor and lieutenant governor and all of us had to stand up and say, oh my, what are we getting into here? I think we had a lot of fear. We were quarantined, we were staying at home. Our most vulnerable were at risk of losing their homes, not able to eat, not wondering if any paycheck would come again. I think we've learned how to be resilient, that no matter what, there is a better tomorrow, how to rely on each other a little bit more and take care of each other. Find those in our community who are health vulnerable, economically vulnerable, academically vulnerable, and make sure we're looking out for them. And making sure that when it is Hispanic Heritage Month, we get out, and there are leaders who see that, who say, no matter what pandemic is out there, we're going to get out here, and we're going to get out here safely. So I want to just take a minute and honor each of you. I also want to highlight that among these statewide elected officials, there's more diversity than there has been ever in the history of our state, but we still don't have, I don't believe, a Latino elected official on the state level, and I really want to highlight, except for Trinidad Navarro, the insurance commissioner, but maybe we need two. And Josue Ortega and Maria Cabrera, thank you for having the courage to stand up and run, and everybody make sure to go out and vote on Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. The mayor's office in the city of Wilmington has historically been a leading supporter of many celebrations that exist during Hispanic Heritage Month. Many mayors have sat in your seat, Mr. Przicki, and making it easier for Latinos to feel included in the city's cultural experiences. In a time where the city has prioritized based on public safety and health measures, we have to continue to get the support from the mayor's office and its staff. We get to have a voice in our city, even when the conversations may seem uncomfortable. We are grateful that you acknowledge the hardships of Hispanics that may not be relatable to you, but still manage to point us towards a roadmap to solutions. For continuing the tradition of partnership and breaking barriers for our Latinos, we thank you and your staff. Please help me welcome Mayor Mike Przicki.
Good day, and thank you very much. It has been a great pleasure for me and an honor to serve as my favorite Spanish word, alcalde. And I'm really happy to be here. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the richness of the Hispanic community and the contribution it makes to our city. Because without you, really, we don't have a city. There's something dynamic that happens in cities when we have people from different backgrounds coming together into a great quilt of our population. Tom Carper, it's a beautiful place right here. And Tom Carper doesn't get the credit he deserves for what happened here. I take a lot of bows, but the guy who just kept pushing it and helping us to finance it was Tom Carper, and it was a lot harder in the early days than it is right now. But the nice thing about being here, by the way, in the pavilion named for LACC board member Mike Hare, an Irishman, but nonetheless a board member of LACC. The nice thing about coming down here is it reminds us of what we can do when we put our minds to something. Because this was a terrible place. But somebody saw something, Russ Peterson saw something, and we all came together and we created something fabulous. And we can do it any place. We can do it any place if we just set our minds to it. Let me just take the privilege of the floor for a minute and say that Tom Carper and I have been around for longer than most of you. And so we've seen some really tough times. And we've gotten through those tough times. What's different about this, in my judgment, is we have this pandemic to deal with. We have a horrible political crisis in this country we have to deal with. We've got challenges everywhere. And you can see across the country people are demonstrating. And they're demonstrating in large measure with their dissatisfaction with the status quo. and they're not even sure what it is they're unhappy with, but there's something that's wrong with what we've been doing for a long time. And to me, what is so uplifting is I believe in my heart that we're going to get through this and be in a much, much better place. We're going to reach across cultures and reach out to each other and find our common humanity. We're not going to be dividing ourselves the way we have. I really believe when this is all said and done, we're going to be a much better society. So please be optimistic. We've got so much to be grateful for. Governor, I too have a proclamation, and just so you know, in the city of Wilmington, it's not a Hispanic month until I say this. So when I say this, I feel very grateful for all of you. Thank you for allowing me to be your mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pazicki. Some of the hardest conversations have come out of the platforms and proposals that exist within the city and county councils. Like you, we at Nuestras Raices and the Hispanic community wanted to acknowledge that as our numbers in the county and city are great, the personal grassroots level involvement that you all maintain is no easy task. From taking time to meet one-on-one to building the bridge to connect our neighbors, we will always be grateful for the dedicated support, both while you are in your elected seat or just a neighborhood friend. You have made it easy to simply have a conversation. We are happy to award the Wilmington City Council and Newcastle County Council with an appreciation award. Thank you for your joint efforts to the Hispanic community. Please welcome Wilmington City Council President Hanifa Shabazz, and I will be accepting the one for Newcastle County President Karen Hartley Nagel. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you very much for recognizing the work that we've done here on a grassroots level. And it's been so many great words spoken today about what this moment means. And, you know, in this time that we're dealing with COVID, the first thing I did was to make sure that all of the diversity in the community needs were addressed. So we called who else but Maria Matos. And her and representatives of the community, we went over to the mayor's office and said we need to have a COVID working group to make sure that everyone's needs were going to be addressed. And it was a great pleasure to work with Maria to ensure that we got everything that was necessary for the city of Wilmington residents, regardless of your heritage. And heritage is so important, and that we get a chance to really know each other's differences. And one thing I really am missing from this celebration is the food. Yes. Oh my goodness, I was so looking forward to the cuisine. You know, because eating the cuisine of a people, you get the chance to really understand and know them, to see the beautiful culture, the diversity of it. And all of these flags that we stake here along the beautiful riverfront is not just for the red, white, and blue, but it's also for all of the cultures that's here that makes Wilmington what it is. So it's truly an honor to be here to speak on behalf of Wilmington City Council and to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with you, because it's important that we know our differences so we can come together to know what our common areas are. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President Hanifa Shabazz. So in the spirit of what we're doing, I want to thank all of you again here today. We have many awards out, and we're not going to be presenting all of the awards, as we're saving that and as many of the other ones that we are going to carry throughout the month of Hispanic Heritage Month. We do want to make mention of these award recipients, and if I happen to mention you, and you do happen to be here, I'm going to ask you to please come forward. I know you do not know that you're receiving this award. Some of you may have been asked to be here as a special guest. Legacy Award winners are individuals who have, for over 15 years, helped within the Hispanic community initiatives of the LACC, of the Nuestras Raices community, either through the festivals, the cultural arts, legacy, policy. These are legacy champions in our community. One of them being Delmarva Power. You see them everywhere. You think they're just the electric company, but they have been one of the biggest legacy supporters to the Hispanic community when it comes to the support that we need to move forward with the initiatives. Another individual that has always dedicated his time to place himself and always bring the Grand Marshal down in his vehicle without anything or any ask in return is Noel Auto Sales. They always give us a convertible. They've never asked for anything in return. And Noel, in addition to supporting and sponsoring the Little Leagues of the Roberto Clemente, he has always been a champion and has always stepped up without anything in return. Believe it or not, the Newcastle County Recorder of Deeds, Mike Kazakowski Sr. This gentleman, before being in that seat, has always made sure to bring down our, is it Maria, the Grand Marshal? The Grand Marshal. So I'm sorry, the Madrina and Padrino has always been brought down by Noel. So the Grand Marshal, who is just kind of like the mayor of the festival and everything else and gets a lot of recognition, has historically been brought down for over 10 years by Mike Kazakowski. He's always given, he's always been a part of us, and he's never missed a parade or cultural experience with us, and you would never know it. So thank you to him. Miss Velda Jones Potter. I don't know if I believe she is here. Oh, you are here. I bet you didn't even know this was happening. Miss Velda, this is such an honor to be able to say this, and I don't have to read anything because I can say this. So Miss Velda is one person who works through a referral system. She has managed to sit with us as in coffee breaks in between her elected seat and everything else. Coffee breaks, she sits down with us in between everything that she has on her plate. And not only does she listen to the Hispanic community, but Maria Perez or someone else will get a phone call a week later, and the resource that we were short on somehow miraculously has always shown up. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she manages to connect the pieces. But Ms. Velda, if you could just come forward, we do have this for you, because when you're not sitting in an elected seat, you just manage to do these things without hesitating, and it doesn't always have to come from you, but the way you manage to always connect the dots and get us the resource that we never expect we were going to get. We want to thank you for that. So here's your legacy sponsor award for always being that champion before you were even in seat. So we thank you. Thank you so much. This person, he's probably scratching right now because he doesn't want to be here because he hates having to do this part. But Mr. Kevin Kelly, I bet you didn't even know that we were making you a community champion today. We feel like you're Hispanic somewhere behind all that Irish that you put out. You have to be. You walk around the streets of the West Side community just like you grew up there, like you always have. You know probably every name of the Latino community person that has lived there for over 10 years or more. And you know their names, you know their burdens, you know their struggles, you know their problems, and you always manage, like Ms. Velda, to connect the dots for us. And if you can't, you manage to go in your own pocket, which your wife probably doesn't approve of, and just kind of make it happen. So I don't know how you do it either, but we are very grateful for everything that you've done for us in the Hispanic community, always giving us the resources, even without having a position within the elected official seat, and we're grateful for that and for being a legacy sponsor in the Hispanic community, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Did you want to talk? Because I know you said. I know you didn't.
I'm not running for office, I'm good. Okay, but we will do things to see what happens. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
So, there's only one other person we're going to recognize before we go ahead and close with the closing remarks, sticking to our time frame, thankfully. Lulu Mendez, please step forward. She had no idea that she was going to be recognized today, which is why we brought this beautiful representation, Miss Rosa Ruiz and her daughters here that are dressed in the Mexican attire and the traditional dance pieces. Lulu Mendez has a business. It's called Salon Ruby, and it's in Wilmington, Delaware, 19805 zip code in the county. She ran a business where it was for entertainment, provide music, entertainment, you can go dance, enjoy some food, great Mexican-inspired cocktails. The minute COVID hit, she said, I'm gonna create this thing called a nonprofit called Un Solo Corazón, one single heart. She shut her business down respectfully to support everything that's happening in the state. And she became, next to the LACC, the second biggest provider here in the county for the Hispanic community. Not only the Hispanic community, but those that were afraid to come out because they may be undocumented immigrants. She never stereotyped this community. She has a page called Un Solo Corazón, and she didn't know she was getting this award, but she has given thousands and thousands and thousands of meals to the undocumented immigrants that feel they couldn't come out because something might happen. They are grateful for you, Lulu. We are grateful. I know that this community is grateful because what some people fail to realize is even though they're undocumented, Lulu, they are still a part of the number here in Delaware. They still are a public safety risk. I know Maria Matos will be proud that you have taken some of the burden off of her, and the fact that you did it and people are grateful for it. And in the Hispanic community, we depend on trust. We depend on family structure. You make them feel like family, and nothing you do makes them turn away. So I say to you in front of all of them, if there's ever an individual you need where the undocumented immigrants need to feel someone who they trust, and you need to get your message across, Lulu Mendez is your champion for that. So thank you. Muchas gracias. Sedu, muchas gracias a Rosa por representar la comunidad mexicana y a todos los latinos. So please, if you can recognize, para que venga acá y te tire una foto con ella. She truly is a champion, and she has the trust. And if there's something you need them to do, to change, to get a message across, this is who you want to speak to. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, Lulu. You're welcome. So aside from that, I have Cristina Teleseca, Remax Happy Homes, always a benefactor to our community. 302 Guns Down, Micalina de Jesus, always promoting, making sure that violence within the community and the Latinos and everything else and beyond is always promoting the advocacy and activism with that on a grassroots level. Miss Jenny at the People's Festival, que viva Mexico, Miss Jenny, because she is always bringing the cultural activities and making sure behind the scenes she keeps the younger community together to do these things. Guerrilla Republic is Bellato. He is a worker from Peru in the Delaware Art Museum. The Delaware Art Museum, a nonprofit, has always had great doors of opportunities to the community. It wasn't until Is Bellato from Guerrilla Republic brought the arts and the cultural arts of the Latino community to there that they do not. Now they open the door and they have events after events that are inclusive to the Latino community, to include on October 31st, they're having a big outdoor Dia de los Muertos, where they're gonna have all kinds of beautiful things respecting all of the Day of the Dead events. So we wanna thank him for allowing us to walk through the art museum and see just a different side of the Hispanic community that we've never gotten a chance to see. Un Solo Corazón, of course. Dino's Water Ice, who hasn't gotten Dino's Water Ice? If you don't know, Dino's Water Ice is everywhere, and we are always grateful for his support. And Michael Sloan, or Schoen, I apologize, he's actually in Florida, and he gives every year for the kids in the Hispanic community receive presents. So he's done this as a legacy sponsor out of his own pocket, and he has done it historically as a legacy sponsor. We are so grateful for him, and that connection came through Ms. Velda, so we appreciate that. So without further ado, let me bring Ms. Gretchen up, and we're gonna wrap this up today.
Thank you, India. Thank you, India. In closing, we are asking our Hispanic community that you wake up on September 15th, that you reflect on the indigenous traditions of our cultures and what has shaped us as Americans, and what value you bring to our state and country. And we want to welcome Isaura, and let's give her another round of applause. A special thank you to our sponsor, Riverfront Development Corporation, and our local Hispanic media outlets for always keeping our community informed, such as Hoy en Delaware, Delaware Hispano, and El Tiempo Hispano. Thank you to our local news for highlighting this day in the state of Delaware through the Declaration as we move into a month-long celebration from September 15th to October 15th. Now, if you have any questions for our leadership or board team, we will have a few minutes for that open now. Now, this wouldn't be Hispanic Heritage Month without including our ambassadors from the Miss Hispanic Delaware pageant. Please welcome Junior Miss Hispanic title holder, Isaura Ortega, singing Preciosa.
Por eso la quiero yo tanto, por siempre la llamaré preciosa. Yo sé de sus sendas trigueñas, sé del olor de sus rosas, por eso mi tierra pequeña, por siempre la llamaré preciosa. Isla del Caribe, isla del Caribe, Boringen, preciosa te llaman las olas del mar que te bañan. Preciosa por ser un encanto, por ser un Edén. Y tienes la novedad de la madre España. Y el cielo cantillo, el limpio bravío, lo tienes también. Preciosa te llaman los palos que cantan tu historia. No importa el tirano que trate con negra maldad,
Maria Matos was not able to be here, so usually she, at the open house, has a beautiful performance, and then she comes and takes the platform. This plaque and this award, we have to leave the platform with the voice of Maria Matos, so she has sent her representatives here, Ms. Wanda and Laura. I'm not sure who's going to come up to do some speaking points, but I know she'd kill you if you did. And make sure you speak on that. So we want to recognize the LACC, and this is why we're going to recognize them. Imagine over 160 children, if I can just paint this image for you, over 160 children in a Latin American community center during the midst of a pandemic, serving as a central virtual learning hub outside of summer camp. 15 groups divided up, 11 groups divided up throughout the LACC. Not always having the full resources, but never making those children feel like they don't. You have become teachers in the midst of this pandemic. Your counselors managed to have a group of 15 with children who are in different classrooms starting school. We know that you're tired. We know that you guys are. We know that you guys are teachers. You guys are mentors. You guys are therapists today. You guys are also feeding the community. We see that. And we see that you guys are a virtual hub, not only to the kids who are struggling today, but this award is not so much for Maria Matos, because we know she does a lot. This says the LACC staff. So thank you so much for what you guys do.
Good morning, buenos días. Mi nombre es Wanda Rincón. I work at the LACC, for those of you that don't know me. I am here representing Maria and the LACC staff. I want to thank India, Maria Perez, the Nuestras Raices Committee. I am so honored to be here sharing this platform with all of you, our state, city, and county officials. As you know, the LACC has been serving the community for 50 years. And when the pandemic hit, it came natural, right? We served as an essential childcare site for essential employees. We served over 600 families with food, rent, utility assistance. We've done so much, and yes, we're a little bit tired. We just actually sat down and said, oh, it's been 6 months. It's been 6 months since it started. We didn't realize everything kind of gone together. Thanks to the generous donations of United Way, the Delaware Community Foundation, and many others, we were able to do this work in the community. And last but not least, thanks to the LACC staff. They've been like, no questions asked, day in and day out. Many long hours, no questions asked. They've done what they have to do and try to keep the community safe, try to keep our families safe. And I thank them, and this is really for them. So thank you so much. Thank you everybody for being here today.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Darbe, and I just want to add that none of this would be possible without Wanda Burgos Rincon's leadership, because the staff she's talking about, she led straight through all of that. If it wasn't for her leadership, and she took on the reins when something that needed to be created, she stepped right in. She led her team. Anybody that knows her can speak to this, and if it wasn't for her, I think that we would be in a very different place. So she's a big hero right here. So thank you to everybody for this recognition, especially to Wanda.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for joining us to celebrate as we kick off Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you to the Nuestras Raices team and all of our elected officials for being here today. Have a happy Hispanic month and go vote.